organized.
Yeah, it's
And
very
then
organized.
everything to the side. So I was only taking those unorganized because that's where everything goes.
Huh.
No. The letters we did with the 7th, a year ago. And then you brought it back here. Judy, that's what you and Judy do Pesach cleaning or something. If you find a bunch of oisios, oisios, each page would have one letter on it. Now this size, painted, but a whole bag of them. They're mine. They were left here for me to come pick up. Probably last June. I don't know where the bag was left, but I was told it was left.
Okay. Okay.
Also, our daughter's in early labor, so if I jump up and run out, that you know, I do like the class or something.
You know my fears.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Yofi. So thank you everyone for coming. Welcome, and Zad Hashem, we will do some learning and creating and contemplating and understanding. Be a big split for Am Yisrael and help us get to Geula Pratit and Klalit and for the whole world. Even in our little efforts, you never know. This could tip the balance. So
that's a big order. Our little effort.
Little things. At a certain point, just this is going to be some little thing will probably just tip the balance.
Yeah.
So good. So we I want to introduce a couple of ideas and then we're going to work with them. This being Parshat Mishpatim, so even though it's not the main subject of what I want to share, I can't help but share every year on Parshat Mishpatim that this is the Parsha of Gilgulim, right? This is the part we get very bogged down in the details of Parshat Mishpatim, and I think it's obviously it's very important. All the details, they're not there for no reason. They're there exactly for reason that they're there, and it can be very valuable to zoom out and consider why is this suddenly like this big chapters and chapters and chapters of details, and it all seems to be about people who are weak, right? People who this one got hurt and that one got like the repairing damages and all kinds of situations where a person is struggling, who is weak, and so one point that I want to share that Rav Shmuel Eliyahu has been sharing about this parsha is that it's not for no reason that all of these rules and laws that we're getting connected to Mishpatim are about this type of dynamic where there's like a weak person involved, someone who's needing, or orphans, all of the it's all that the subject matter is like consistently for Mishpatim is this type of thing of people who need something. And so he said that he's saying that this is it's when you zoom out and you look at that, you realize that we are one. We think, oh, miskenim, and they need help, but that's us. It's as important as anybody else. And in fact, the fact that it's the focus right after Matan Torah, that we get this like huge dose of details about specifically the subject of helping those who are in need, is telling us something. That's like a very key aspect to what it is that we're doing here. It's central. It's central to our work. And it can be uncomfortable, and some people know how to get into the mode, but it's not like the easiest thing for people to, okay, so it's very important to remember that. So in terms of what I said first, this is the Parsha of Gilgulim, right? This is the Parsha of Gilgulim, where all of these different situations where this one and his donkey and the reparations and how it's going to work out. So we think, like on a surface level, present tense level, we have a situation. We have to, I got in a situation with a neighbor, whatever it might be, and they owe me, I owe them, down to the details. What it's about the fence or the pipe burst, and we're in the details, like 99%. And the zoom out or the deep zoom in of this version of things is that this is another story. And as we know, there's the famous story, which I'll say very on the very like simple cut down level of, you imagine this is the classic story for Parshat Mishpatim, is that let's say there's a guy named Ruvain, and he's going along on his horse on a journey. And he comes to, he's getting tired and he decides to take a rest. So he parks his horse under a tree, which is by a mayan, takes a little nap. And while he's laying there taking the nap, by accident, his wallet falls out from his pocket. He doesn't notice, finishes his nap, he wakes up, he goes along his way, the wallet's there. Okay, he's off along his way. Comes along Shimon on his lesser horse, and he says, well, nice place to stop, I'm going to take a break. He's not having the easiest time. He comes along and he takes a rest, and he sees where he's sitting right next to him is this fat wallet full of money. Wow, it's exactly what I needed. I'm in exactly that amount of debt. Thank you, Hashem. It was so amazing for saving me. Takes the wallet, he's so happy, he's off on his way. And then comes walking along Levi, and he doesn't even have a horse. And he's walking along and he's tired. He takes a break under the tree as well, next to the mayan, just sitting there, falls asleep. So a little time goes by, and Shimon realizes, what? Where's my wallet? I must have dropped it back there where I took the nap. He U-turns the horse, running back, galloping back. He sees poor Levi there resting, and he beats him up and says, how could you steal my money? Where is it? Give me my money. And in the meantime, we know, because we know the story, Makesher, which is like an eye opener to our day in, day out life experience. Like this person someone got very mad at me on the road. I was just driving along, as far as I know. I don't think I did anything. Like, is there some kind of like some other story going on? This person was very hooked into me. Like he wanted to like run me off there. He got very, very aggressive. And I was like, what do you care about me? I'm just driving along. But there may be, who knows? Back in the day, I was running him off.
Bumped him off, right?
Had road rage.
Yeah, but so then the question is like, it's not just the present tense story. The answer is there's like a story behind the story, that our soul. So the story behind what we just said of Shimon and Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, like we said, is, when you look into the deeper story, you see that in a previous life, that actually the one who lost the money, he owed the other person the money, and the one who found the money was owed the money, and the one who got beat up was the judge who was supposed to make it right. Something like that. Makes sense, right? Like they get the idea. So I try to tell the story the best way I can, and whether we get it exactly right, we get the idea, which is the important thing, that we don't really know. Like there's so much more going on than the surface level. And Parshat Mishpatim, all of these rules and regulations and how when this happens and that happens or whatever. So we take on, it's like so many details or whatever, but it's about something actually really, really deep. And it's a chesed that we have these, ways to fix, ways to make things right. And even though it's uncomfortable, like on all levels, usually these type of things. So with that, I want to share and starting to get into our, what we're going to work on today, an idea that we come back to a lot, and I want to take a little bit of a different angle on it today, where it's Parshat Mishpatim, and Mishpatim is like translated as judgments, rules, this type of thing. And to take it a little bit to like a deeper level of not judgments like, rulings in court, but judging ourselves, judging other people, right? The critical eye, the critical inner eye, the critical outer eye, and how what we really want, we all know what we really want is for the geula to come barachamim. We want things to be good. We want it to be not the doomsday version that the main media loves to push. We want geula to come with sweetness and with rachamim, and the deeper level of getting there comes with how we relate to ourselves. Because if we're the personal geula is going to reflect the greater cloud geula, and until we can look inside of ourselves and judge ourselves favorably, and I don't know if this is a question I would have to ask Rav Shmuel. I haven't had a chance to ask him. It's just like kind of coming to me now, but this whole thing of Parshat Mishpatim, where it's like the soul's journey, and we think things are happening on some level. So could we have that even within ourselves? Could we have like layers of ourself where we're like judging a part of ourselves, which was actually like something from before, like parts of ourselves knew each other as like separate. It sounds like a good idea. I could Blinett or ask him, but it would be good to know, because I'm really curious. It's like a really interesting question, but whether or not it's like, that's the spiritual reality, the reality is that we have a hard time looking at ourselves in the right way and looking at ourselves with rachamim. We're usually very, very hard on ourselves. Usually our best critic is ourself. And until we learn to look at ourselves with rachamim, we are continuing along cycles of judgment, right? And judgment in the sense of like judgment with deen. There's judgment with deen and there's judgment with rachamim. We want judgment with rachamim. And so in order to get to this place where everything's reflecting that, as we know, the spiritual growth and the direction that we want to go in everything of this nature, how does it happen? From the inside out. It's not something you see on the outside. Oh, geula came. Wow, great, I got the news. Like it comes from the inside out. And so that's some of the work that we need to do. So I thought it would be useful for us to contemplate this visually and consider, because I do bring this subject up a lot of like the Ayin Tova outwardly. But I thought that for going on this week to approach it inwardly. And so you can choose a say a subject. You can be as abstract as you want. You could use words. You can, me, you can do whatever you want, but choose some type of a form where you have like you have a form, meaning like you have a line, a container, a shape. And therefore, if you do that, then there's inside and there's outside. Okay. And then what I want us to do, this is like one of my applying ideas to color and materials. So try to flow with me here. That I think that it'd be really nice to really apply it like kind of color wise and how we paint wise. Meaning when I paint, when I look at myself, you can think. Say and this takes some like looking inside. Take a moment to think and breathe and look inside. When I think about something, I have issues with myself. Okay, it's usually not so hard to find something. So choose one or choose two, and thinking and looking inside and what do I see inside, like color wise, like what kind of a vibe, visual vibe is it? And just in thought at first, okay, just kind of contemplating. And for me, something jumps up right away, and maybe it takes a minute, for something to jump up. But to think, when I think of myself in this katnut way, in a small way, in a judging, in a deen way, like, oh, I was always kach v'kach. I've always been since I was,
Yeah.
And then before painting, to take a minute and take a couple of deep breaths, access and ignite and put into action the Ein Tova, like zooming out, even if you can imagine a little bit yourself rising up above yourself. If you're closing your eyes, you can actually kind of see, looking inside, and kind of actually look at yourself from above at this self-judging self reality. But from a higher standpoint, if I'm looking at myself from that place, what does it look like? Like we said, the story, what does it look like? Like it looks, if I'm looking at it close up, like, oh, I've always been, I'm always late. I don't know, pick a busy one. Or like I'm, whatever it is, it comes to me, I don't know, red, checkerboard. I don't know, however it's looking to me. It's like, it looks like something. And then I'm going to take a minute and kind of literally try to imagine, right? It's like I can see I'm up there and I'm looking down at me, judging myself, but I'm up there. And if I'm up there, it's like I'm looking at the story again of Shimon and Levi and Shimon and Reuven, and seeing it from the real story, like what's really going on with me inside.
Wow.
And what does that look like? Visually, like, does it look like something else? Or what could it look like? How can I breathe into that place, an istaklut, an ein tova of rachamim on myself, on my self-judgment? Because if we're judging ourselves on something, which usually it's not even present tense, it's like, it's not even really up to date, valid of who we are. And yet we're keeping ourselves in that, I don't know, 7-year-old, 13-year-old, like that's who I am, because we're looking at ourselves that way. If we rise up above and see, well, actually, there was, I mean, this is like deep healing work. I'm not as if I'm just like throwing out such a thing, but I'm doing it on purpose because, like, Imkvar, like when we're already here, we might as well. And consider it. Doesn't mean that and it could be, please God, why not? That today we could have a refuah shalema and actually look at ourselves in the right way. Because with 1 or 2 real good breaths and igniting a place of, wait, I have inside of me an Ein Tova where I'm gonna look without the stuck judgment, like I've locked myself into this place. I'm not there. I'm going to look at myself, the issue that I was looking at, not from the place of like, okay, you're locked, from a place of like, who are you really? And what does that look like? So if there's any imagery is coming to you.
Beautiful. Wow.
So I thought,
It's very complicated.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to go home. It's starting.
I'm in Sela. Okay, so but that's why we need to bring it to the art, because it's like too much and it's good and it's everything. So if we make an image that will remind us of this, say for example, like what's coming to me, I mean, I'm talking, so I'm not really like taking like a deep moment to go there too much, but anyways, I have like a little something coming to me. Say that I would make like, I don't know, some kind of an egg shape with my issues.
Yellow.
Thing. Or like well, the yellow comes after, but my, the stuff plays, and then surrounding it and then shining into it, the new way of looking at things, the elevated way of looking at myself. And if you use colors, say we use colors that actually mix or like could work together. Say I put in the middle, I don't know, yellow, and I put around it blue, and then it comes in and it makes green. Wow, there's like some cool stuff could happen here,
Yeah.
So really just let's give it a try of starting with this idea. Let's see, I'm gonna get the
I think I asked you, not Michael Shapiro, I asked you last time, who gave us Hannah Golder, one of his songs, Peacefully Sharei Tzedek. I couldn't find it. It's very.
Oh, yeah, I think I tried to look it up when you asked, and I didn't find it for some reason.
You did not.
It didn't come up. I don't know why.
I found a new great songwriter. She sings about Hashem, and Yirmi is called.
Yirmi?
Y-I-R-M-I.
Yirmi.
Give me. Great songs.
He's a good.
He's good. He's like interesting tunes and like he's deep. He's like, and he writes his own words. Like it's because like it's easy to find words on the psukim, but somebody who actually writes his own stuff is like it's also like I find it interesting.
Okay, here we'll try Yirmi. I'll be brave.
יש יומן מהפכני, אבל אין לי מושג.
Just love them. Everybody's got a soul inside, even if it's hard to see sometimes. Different faces, different ways, but we're all shaped by the same design. And if God still holds them close, even when they've lost their way, then I can open up my heart and choose to love them anyway. No, I don't have to know their name to show them love. It's not insane. There's no kindness that's done in vain. Unconditional love, even when it's hard. Not cause they deserve it, but cause it's who we are. If God still loves them, then I've got enough to flood this world with unconditional love. Just love them.
I said in the beginning, and sometimes I've been trying. I told everyone to begin, obviously.
Just love them.
But there's so many. I'm doing my best. I really am making like an unbelievable amount of efforts, and then there's always like the thing that we could focus on that we wish it was better, or we can focus on that there's a lot of good happening, and we'll let people know from now on. Like, what can we do?
Sometimes I feel that wall go up when I don't feel a real connect. But I don't need a reason why to treat them with a little respect. I don't have to share their view or walk the path that they've been through. But even strangers need to know that someone sees their value too. No, I don't have to know their name to show them love. It's not insane. There's no kindness that's done in vain. Unconditional love, even when it's hard. Not cause they deserve it, but cause it's who we are. If God still loves them, then I've got enough to flood this world with unconditional love. Just love them. Just love them. Just love them.
I brought the instrument. There you go, the song. Me and Yirmi. Beautiful. It's so nice. It was really, really, really nice.
Hello. Hello. Yes. Hi. Who's this? Hello. No, yeah, Can. Can. About yes. You did brought. The I think that you sent me the film. Yes.
I was sending
Yes. Thank you.
in the WhatsApp.
Yes. Thank you so much. I've just been in class, so thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Pagas.
Did you compose it?
No. But I did learn.
Yeah, that was a really nice read.
Hashem. Yeah? Okay. So while you're painting, you can keep painting or listen. I just want to add in a some deep Kabbalah because we are likrat very special times. Seems to be always the case, but we're it's extra special times right now, as we are literally right before Parshat Shkalim. We're between these, there's special Shabbatot, as we know, right, in these times, 4 of them, leading up to through Purim and up to Shabbat Gadol before Pesach. And there's all kinds of teachings, and I'm sure they're going to be flowing these kinds of teachings around the 4 parshiot. But I heard something really beautiful that I feel like it's connected to the work that we're doing. The fact that we're doing, right? We're in Olam HaMaaseh. Like we're taking Asiyah. I'm taking a paintbrush and I'm putting it in color and I'm moving it around. We're changing a thing in the physical world. So that is the name, that is the realm of Asiyah, we said, and which is connected to the soul level of nefesh. So we have 5 levels of the soul, as we all know, just to review. So the lowest level of the soul is nefesh. That's the world of Asiyah. The next level is ruach, which is feelings and yitzirah. The next level is neshama, which is thought. And the next level is chaya. And the 2 highest realms, they say, are like, they're not really accessible in this world. Even neshama is already a high level. In general, they're yes, but in general, it's what's like on the it takes a lot to get there, and we're meant to go there to all of the levels for sure. It's all there. So then there's chaya and yechida. The highest level is yechida. So the 4 parshiot are connected to the 4 letters of Hashem's name. They're connected to these levels of the soul, and we're going through a talich of preparing ourselves for the very, very big light of Nisan, of Pesach, of Leil Seder, of Hashem showing us His infinite love, of receiving the infinite love. And in order to receive a really, really big gift of light, we have to prepare. And so we start off, where do we start? At the beginning. We start on the level of nefesh. So the parsha of Parshat Shkalim is the level of nefesh of the soul. And the letters of Hashem's name it's like Hashem's name written backwards, which is interesting. So this one is Hey, Parshat Shkalim. I hope I got this right. Parshat Shkalim is the last letter of Yod Kei Vav Kei, which is Hey. And then the next parsha to come after Shkalim is Parshat Zachor, which is Vav, which is the level of Ruach, the tikkun level of Ruach. And the next, and then there's also they call it the parsha the Hafsakah. There's one where there's not a special written because there's 5 weeks. So that one is the important connecting between the first 2 letters of Hashem's name and the second letters of Hashem's name is the Hey and the Vav. So we take this Hafsakah parsha where it's not its own parsha, but we dafka don't have one, and to recognize how important it is to connect Yud Kei to Vav Kei, the upper and the lower. The next one is Parshat Parah, which is the first Hey of Hashem's name, right? We're going backwards, Hashem. So Hey, Vav, Hey, and which is the level of Neshama. And then Parshat HaChodesh is the highest level. I can't remember how she said it. One of them is called Shel Yud, so that's probably the thing after. So this is Yud. So Parshat HaChodesh is Yud. I have to listen to it again to get all of the details. Rabbanit Rachel Bazak, the daughter of Rav Shmuel. So So there's a lot to be learned, all these things, and I'm certainly not the person to like teach us all of the Kabbalah around these things. Just to bring it up, to kind of like refresh that we're stepping into very amazing high level times. Every month of the year has a configuration of Hashem's name associated with it, which most of us know, and the month of Nisan is in order, right? Yud, K, Vav, K. And all the other ones are conglomerations of the different combinations of Hashem's name. Everything is in order. Why? Because the creation of the world, the creation of reality, the Seder of reality starts in Nisan. And we know there's the conversation of when is really Rosh Hashanah, when is it really the first month of the year, is it Tishrei, is it Nisan? So the Kitzur version of this is that in Tishrei, it's the beginning of thought, and in Nisan, it's the actual beginning, like the actual birth of Am Yisrael and the actual beginning of the world. And that's why this month is in order, because it sets the order of creation, which is actually a pretty amazing thing to know and realize it now. That's why I want to bring it up now, because we're enough before it that we can prepare to be beseder, to be ready to receive in the best way possible, which means doing this kind of work. So where are we starting? Here we are, right before Parshat Shkalim, which is Tikkun HaNefesh. Lois, start at the beginning. We're going to and I brought something like very like personal self tikkun. I mean, it's high levels also to tikkun, do a tikkun of looking at ourselves with an ayin tova for sure. And yet what we're doing is we're just on a relatively simple level, just saying, that I'm going to be real about it. There's places where I'm holding myself back. The way that I look at myself, the way that I experience my life is because of the way that I look at myself. And it's sometimes easier to apply it on the outside. So I have this neighbor, and she always, so I can like label it and it's like real in the world and outside, and I can even like touch it, and it's like the physical world outside of me that I'm seeing reflected. To go inside, it's much more what's the word? Ephemeral. It's much more it's less it's less touchable. It's like more spiritual, and I want to bring that to a place of the first level of preparing ourselves really for the great light that's coming this year, big time, the Geula of, this is Zman HaGeula Mamash. We're in Zman HaGeula Mamash, and Nisan is Zman HaGeula. So wow, what's happening this year? Big time stuff, very big time stuff. So to be prepared, starting at this place of saying, I'm going to be real about it, that I want to try to zoom out from myself, the way that I think, I always, am worried about money. I'm always, upset that everything is messed up. I don't know, whatever it is. Like, there's easy things to pick because, like, we're human.
Plenty to choose from.
Yeah, we have so many options. So pick one. And it's easy in a certain sense, like kind of funny but not funny. And then thinking about, okay, and what do I do when I have to look at an ayin tova, with an ayin tova at the world, at another person? What do? I have to take a deep breath, take a step back, zoom out a little bit, and look and think, like Rabbi Nachman says, think this person's for sure done something good in their life, right?
The kudat tova.
Yeah. And how do we do that? We can't focus on the thing we're over focused on to do that. If you're focusing on the thing that you're over focused on, there's no way to do it. You're stuck. You're in there. And so for ourselves also, to step back from this thing that we're so sure that we know ourselves to be this way, like, and say, well, actually, this is Parshat Mishpatim. There's so many layers to me. And is it even true what I think about myself in this way that's a limiting way of thinking? Is it even true? Is it true that I'm always struggling and not figuring things out? Or is the truth actually that amazing things are happening all the time? And, okay, yellow, blue makes green, like mixing the color, like putting it on the page and saying, well, actually, when I look at it from a different angle, like a different color is a different angle.
Nice.
Wow.
A different color is literally a different angle. It doesn't just look nice, it is nice. It's reality. And so by you take a what's it called, like crystal, and you shine a light through it, and it makes the beautiful like rainbow effect thing. and you turn it a tiny bit and the colors all move. So let's do that on ourselves. So I'm looking at myself in this way of like seeing, okay, I'm so sure that I know that I am limited in these ways. So just turn the crystal a little bit, the colors all change, everything shifts, and I can take a deep breath and look at it again and say, well, actually, I want to actually go to Geula this year. I want to actually be redeemed from me putting myself in jail.
Wow. Wow. I like that.
That's the idea. So, okay, so let's give another like minute painting, wrapping up your thoughts a little bit, and then if anyone wants to share. I think there's tissue here. It's like 3.
It's what, you know?
It's like 3.
No, $5 in shekel.
$5?
$5 in shekels is 15 shekels.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That's fine. I'll just give you a little extra. I'm giving you like 40 and a $5 bill. And I'm leaving soon.
So
Pass it on. Yes, you want, is it?
Consider the contribution to like women's learning. Like see about
to
it.
the yeshiva.
Yeah. If you
So nice that you came.
No, you came all the way from Tzfat, and I always feel like, oh my goodness.
Tודה. Shkoyach.
And we appreciate you. We really do.
yes.
Tzfat is very far.
Yeah. Today was a real roller coaster to get here. That was intense.
From the guy on the road or something else?
Yeah, but that was, there's the whole drive. It's a relatively intense thing to like drive for hours, the Bika, and to have that happen like right at the beginning. It's like,
It happened to be.
How long
Right.
was he on your kids?
until I started realizing what was happening, and then I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go really slow and let him be too work forward with waiting. He has too much energy in him right now to go as slow as I could go, and that he would go. Once I realized that, like I let him like.
Did he overtake you?
Yeah, he was being very, very aggressive, and he was sending me signals with his hand.
Like this?
No, good night. That was my Boker Tov Nabika. It was so funny, but like I was listening to this class. It was so funny. The Rabbani Rachel Bazak, and she was saying, she actually brought up, like right after this happened, she was saying, think of like a situation where you get upset, like if somebody like cuts you off on the road. She literally said it right after, or someone passes you, and so this idea that I'm sharing, which I heard from her, to try to bring the geula with rachamim, we first have to have rachamim on ourselves. So if my response to that on the outside is like, hey, I'm all upset outwardly, as opposed to stopping and thinking, well, what is that person going through? He's probably rushing for a reason, like, or whatever, like in general, any type of like, when we do the outer judgment, one of the ways to step back is to say, I don't know what's going on with this person. I wonder how that person is actually feeling. And then that takes us to a place of anava, as opposed to, I'm immediately judging the person, he must be going through something. And that brings, it brings rachamim on the situation, how I'm looking at the situation, and therefore even on myself, because if I kept pushing it and didn't let it go, I would just bring more tzaras to myself.
Can I just ask though, on this road rage, that could have ended very dangerously.
No, it was dangerous.
Yes, so
scary.
It's different to sit and contemplate.
Right.
You could have been.
No, I didn't have an easy time with this one.
Because it doesn't really apply to what you're saying. What's he going through? You're saying
Well,
you're trying not to get smashed.
it
and
could, on a
right.
practical level, yes, but it could apply in this way, in the way that my inner world is reacting to the situation, where I could say like, hey, and get like, aggressive back, or be like, who do you think you are? Like, what, like, or I didn't like think it through in words this way, but I thought the best thing to do here is let him go.
Yeah, of
Which
course.
is similar in a way. It's in the rachamim realm. It wasn't like a clear like, oh, what's he going through? He must be having a hard day. I'm just saying that now. This took a few hours later.
Yeah.
But like, and I'm not on the road and I don't have the intensity like on me. first I was just like trying to be fine, you know, like it was a little intense. And then I was like, okay, a solution to this is like, please go ahead, you know, like, and which it is a version of rachamim, and there's many layers and levels of this. Like we could, and any rachamim, you know, like putting rachamim on ourselves. It's not like giving yourself a free ticket out and lying and saying like, I'm not really the way that I am. It's true. Like we're way too hard on ourselves. We're way too hard on our reality, and we're making our life's experience smaller by doing that. And we don't have to. What we have to do is build that side of ourselves of seeing ourselves in this way with truth, with truth, like like you said, the high road, or like seeing from above, which is like or say like how, you know, the highest level, and there's like a very deep, you know, real like tipuli type thing that if we want someday, I could like lead us through this thing as well. That I also learned from the Rabbanit Rachel.
You mean a meditation?
Like a healing workshop type thing, like a meditative thing.
And uplift.
It's more just in thought, but like the one of the essence of that workshop is to keep taking steps back from wherever you're like you're holding your trauma. So you could go back to say birth, you could go back to say before your birth, you go back to say, you know, kisya kavod. At some point, like me, when I look at myself in that stuck place, I was, you know, 3 years old and this happened, whatever. It's very like, and I go back to, well, when I was born, I was like totally pure. That hadn't happened. I was like in more light. And I could go further back and say, well, before I was even born, I was like really even more in light than being born. And before I was there, I was in kisya kavod. Before I was there, all the way, like until you realize you're fully in light. And then from there, you look back at yourself where you were hurting at 3 years old, and you visit yourself and say like, hey, you're actually good. Or you talk to yourself actually with words, which is bringing it into the olam, nefesh and asiyah. You're doing something. And so you're taking these like high levels of understanding and bringing it into you're my physical self. And saying to myself, you know what? You actually are fine. You're good. Like say the words. That's the asiyah. And this is a version of that as well. Like, I mean, there's like a lot of angles on this type of healing, and it's not stam that we keep coming back to the same subjects, because these are things that we need to do, that we need to like get over and through in order to receive the great light that's coming. It's happening, you know. Okay. Sorry. So who wants to share? Anybody want to share? You can. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Ooh, cool. What do you call it? Honeycomb.
Yes, because this was like inspired by Rabbi Nachman's story, by a specific scene in Rabbi Nachman's story, the wise man and the simpleton. Because the simpleton, he's a shoemaker, but he's not great at it. So his shoes are triangular. So that's a triangular shoe. It stands on the ground and it's triangular. So like it's not so good. Because like your shoes don't like not pointy ends, just triangular. He's not great. And his wife is like, this like you're not earning so much, and because like people who can afford proper shoemaker go to him. So like why don't you like try to improve and do better shoes? And he says, my shoes are sweeter than honey. So that's the honeys. Yes, sweeter than honey. So he's looking at a very imperfect reality. He's saying it's still very, very sweet.
Okay.
And also the way I was told the story is that the shoe represents tefillah. So we're looking at our tefillahs and we're saying, this is so imperfect. I didn't have kavanah here, I didn't have kavanah there. I mumbled the words. I didn't daven today or whatever. And the simpleton who is like a tzad, like future tzaddik, he is like saying, no, sweeter than honey, sweeter than sugar, sweeter than honey.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll share something that Rav Shmuel told me about tefillah on that point that you shared about the shoe. So I asked him one day, so what do you do when you feel like, you know, I just davened shachrit and I wasn't even like there. I wasn't so with, and he laughed. I mean, he didn't laugh hard, but he was like, you know, big smile laugh. moment. And he was like, there's a story that I forget if it was the Maggid of Mezrich or the Baal Shem Tov, but a Chassid came to him and asked him this question. I think it was the Maggid came to the Besht, and the Baal Shem Tov laughed and said, any tefillah that any of us do, whatever we think about it, it's moving worlds and world and world and world.
Good. Oh, good.
Yeah, good to know.
You
Honey.
don't see in Shemayim how our tefillahs are affected.
It's like, this is our whole lesson. It's a beautiful example. Like, it's like, oh really? Well, how do I normally think of my, like, I asked the question, like I was obviously asking the question because that's how I felt. And the answer was like, you have no idea like how powerful your prayer just was, the one that I thought wasn't worth anything. So if I could like zoom out, look at myself from above, like from what Shmuel told me, what we learned or whatever, and look and see, I could see like the awesomeness of that tefillah instead of like, oh, bummer, I didn't daven today. Like, well, Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah. Not tonight, Josephine.
So I can kind of share.
Okay.
So I looked at a home that my father built, and for some reason
Father built her home.
Oh, yeah.
for some reason my father thought it was going to be a good idea to have his office. He moved, instead of working in the Bronx anymore, he just made an office in our house next door to my room. Now, my father was German and just very structured, and I with super artistic flow. I had a big bedroom right next to his office, and I just had piles of all the different things I was working on. So I was sewing over here and pottery over here and knitting and things. I just had my whole room, the whole periphery of my room just had different piles of my different projects. I thought it was great. But my father was having colleagues come over for meetings and passing this room that just a mess. So, and it used to really, really, really bother my father, and I certainly this. But it was it's a conflict that stayed in me. So in my eye, I've got all these different projects of things happening. There's different colors, just these satin things and all kinds of great stuff. Great stuff.
Probably his business improved, knowing that his daughter is such a artistic,
right,
special person.
Anyway, so then I looked at it and I said, like, okay, so what could be the higher vision of it? And I was like, those are stuff like different kinds of fruits and plants, and like it was very fruitful and beneficial and nourishing and all that other good stuff. So here the yellow became the sunshine and the rainfall, and that's just what was happening today.
Very cool. Very nice.
The colors became big things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Amazing.
And we also in Shevach, we just eat fruit.
It's the truth. See, it's coming out.
And it looks like it wasn't like you were in jail or anything. It was like not such a traumatic experience.
It was being not understood and appreciated. So that was
There's a big range, and and the whole range matters. Like the littlest things could be what we're getting hooked up on and stuck on, and the big things for sure. Like the way to get to those like bigger, deeper stuff is to like, okay, to take something that's like palatable for the moment. But it's very, not to say, oh, it's just a little, it's totally real. It's very real. And it probably is rooted in the bigger thing. Like it's touching on something that's like much bigger, but by opening it up in a place that feels accessible, then you can get there. Like next time, meaning do it.
It's done in her situation. It is.
I think it always is. I think it always is. That's the thing, is because, I mean, you want to speak? I don't speak for you, but like I have my ideas of anything that came to anyone, like, and whatever I shared, and this idea of like, okay, we have this like type of reality going on where we're not looking at ourselves in the right way, and to try to like look at ourselves with rachamim and even say truth. So whatever comes up is deeper, no matter what the subject is. And you could take it on like the lightest, and depending on how you feel that day, I could feel like I could take something on a bit intense today because I'm feeling like strong, or I'm feeling like no, this is like a bit much for me, like way too much for me. I'm gonna take the easiest thing I could think of at all, and that still is going to be connected to the deeper things. That's the way we are. It's like a.
Yeah, I wasn't even asking, but sure.
It's
It's
answering the
definitely
question you
the-
did not answer.
It's definitely my daughter went until even middle night, and I stayed up with the kid till the morning version of dealing.
Nice. Yes, fair.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So Yehiratzon, we should be blessed to have an Ein Tova on ourselves and find a true vision of ourselves in any places that we might be stuck in, smaller or bigger or lighter or deeper ways, should be released and freed, and we should mamish experience a personal and collective Geula Shalema this year. Amen. L'chaim. Toda. Great to see you, Liran.
How you doing with your,
I have to run. My husband waiting for me. Cool.
okay.
Everything.